Lord Eddard Stark was the second son of Rickard Stark. He had an older brother, Brandon, who was Rickard's heir, and two younger siblings, Lyanna and Benjen, who joined the Night's Watch. Their father Rickard served King Aerys Targaryen II as Warden of the North. King Aerys sat on the Iron Throne, and was nicknamed the Mad King because of what he did to people who disobeyed him. Ned was a close friend and trusted counselor to Robert Baratheon. Both boys were fostered as children by Jon Arryn, the Lord of the Vale. Ned supported Robert's play for the Iron Throne by acting as a general in many of his major battles. Robert was betrothed to Ned's sister Lyanna, who was kidnapped by Rhaegar Targaryen, the son of King Aerys. This ignited a war to get her back. Brandon's attempt to bring Lyanna home failed miserably, and Lyanna died in Ned's arms during the conflict. Prince Rhaegar escaped, and Brandon and Rickard Stark were called to King's Landing by King Aerys to answer for their crimes against the throne. King Aerys's usual manner of dealing with traitors was death, and this was no exception. He set his dragon on them and had them burned to death. When Brandon died, Ned inherited all of his duties, which included becoming Lord of Winterfell. Robert became king, and Ned served him as Warden of the North, as his father had served King Aerys. Brandon had been betrothed to a woman named Catelyn Tully, and when he died, Ned inherited his bride as well. Despite barely knowing each other, they formed a loving marriage and had 5 children. They were named Robb, Sansa, Arya, Bran, and Rickon. Ned also had a supposed illegitimate son named Jon Snow, and the family raised a ward named Theon Greyjoy alongside their children. In his opening scene, Ned executes a deserter from the Night's Watch named Will, who claims that the White Walkers have returned. Ned dismisses him as a madman and executes him anyway. His sons Robb, Jon, and Bran accompany him to the execution. Ned makes a point of telling Bran that the man who passes the sentence should swing the sword and take responsibility for his own actions. On the way back to Winterfell, the party finds a dead direwolf with 6 living pups. Ned's first instinct is to put them down, as they won't survive alone, when Jon tells him that since the direwolf is the sigil of House Stark, the pups may be an omen. Ned agrees to take them back to his children on the condition that they raise and train them with no help from the servants. A raven arrives at Winterfell with the news of the death of Jon Arryn, Ned's mentor and foster father. The letter also states that the royal family will be coming to Winterfell to visit. Ned realizes that Robert is going to ask him to become Hand of the King in Jon Arryn's place. He ponders saying no, but when Robert gets to Winterfell, he says that he needs Ned and asks him to do it as a favor to a lifelong friend. He even offers to betroth Ned's daughter Sansa to his own son Joffrey, his successor and heir to the Iron Throne. Ned is still pondering whether he should take the position when a raven arrives with a letter from Lysa Arryn, Catelyn's sister. Lysa implicates Queen Cersei Lannister and her family in the death of her husband, Jon Arryn. In order to investigate this and a potential plot against the king, Ned accepts the position as Hand of the King and decides to bring his daughters Sansa and Arya to King's Landing with him to introduce them at court.